Now, we're gonna let that garlic simmer in there for about a minute.
Okay.
We don't wanna cook it down too far.
Okay.
And the next step is gonna happen really fast. So you'll notice that we had all of our ingredients prepped before we started. That's the way you wanna do this. You wanna get everything chopped up, get everything out of its containers, and move on to the next step. Because the next step, we're going to take crushed tomatoes and vegetable broth in equal parts. Low sodium vegetable broth. And we're going to add these in and bring them to a boil. Now, here's the trick with crushed red tomatoes. Get them canned. Because, and then of course I'm gonna explain this to you, but for the audience's sake, canned crushed tomatoes have better flavor than fresh tomatoes from the market every time. Unless you are getting them directly from the farm. Tomatoes are picked early and they're not ripe, which means they're not at peak flavor. So the crushed tomatoes in the can are always at peak flavor. They're always ripe when they're picked, and there's salt in them, right?
There's salt in?
Yes, for a preservative effect. That's why I said at every step of the way, we're going to be adding salt into. Yeah. So you have to be careful with the salt in the early step. So we're right about that time. We're getting to that translucent level with our onions. We're just going to add these directly, and we're going to give this a stir.
And that would be the vegetable stock.
This is a vegetable stock.
Low sodium, it's organic, yum.
And we are going to give this a good stir just to get everything. And we're going to bring this up to a boil next. Now, before we get to that step, we are going to add in a few more spices here. And the spice that we're going to add in first and foremost is cumin.
Cumin. And he always tell me, sprinkle it on top until it's covered. And I don't know, Greg, what you're talking about.
Yeah,
so today I'm going to see. Like, he tried to explain this to me so many times.
So cumin, this is the part where cooking becomes an art, because I just do it until my ancestors say it's right. And I really just do it until I get a good film on top of that.
Oh, that's what you mean.
Just so that you cover up a bunch of the red, but not too much, because the issue here is that you can actually over
cumin, yes.
Right, and you don't want to.
That's not a pleasant flavor, trust me.
You don't want to take the flavor away from
the actual.
From the tomatoes. This is a very tomato-forward soup, and it's very nice. And then the next step is. This is my secret. So I learned this recipe originally out of a book by Isa's, or is it Isa? It was either Veganomicon or Appetite for Reduction.
Oh.
And what was interesting about this is I didn't really like the way it turned out originally. So as, of course, every chef does, they make their own adjustments.
Yeah.
And my major adjustment was a little Cholula. Now,
hot sauce.
Use your favorite hot sauce for this. This is my favorite hot sauce.
And it's mine now.
My wife and I, Michelle and I, call this the essence of flavor, because we use it on everything from eggs. But
wonderful.
Of course, my step in the ingredients list was the same, which is just says dust the cover of
the pan, the top.
And I don't measure this out. I just go until I feel like it's right. But again, there's a lot of salt in this. You do have to be careful about oversalt.
I think in my family, we're just going to put the whole entire bottle in. No one will be satisfied until I did that. So,
but we gave it a good dusting over top. And then the next step here, just give it a good mix. And then we're going to cover it. Do we have a lid for this?
We do have cover, yes.
And bring this up to a boil. The next step for me, not for everyone, is to chop up some fresh cilantro. Not everyone likes cilantro. It's actually a genetic thing. Some people have.
I didn't know it was a genetic thing.
Yeah, some people have a specific gene that makes cilantro taste like salt, or not salt, soap.
Yeah.
So if you're one of those people and you don't like cilantro, don't add cilantro. I like cilantro.
But I love cilantro. I think I would put it in anything, salads and soups, and I think it's delicious.
So we're going to do this after it comes up to a boil. And we're almost done here. As I mentioned, this is an easy dish. It goes in together. It's all about the prep work for this.
So yeah, while our soup is boiling, let me fish and ask Greg, what do you like about our menu?
Oh, well, number one thing I like about your menu is that it's not large, which is, in my opinion, a sign of a good restaurant.
Yeah.
It means that everything on the menu has been put there with care.
Yep.
And that, fewer things to cook is fewer things to worry about in the kitchen.
Yep.
And so far, my favorite thing has been the Awaze Tib sandwich.
Really?
Yes. Because I've never, until moving to Silver Spring, I had never had Ethiopian food.
Wow.
And so since getting here, absolutely. I can't get enough of the Awaze.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's coming, guys. We're gonna make some Awaze Tib sandwich.
You better teach
one
me
of
how
these
to
days.
make that.
I will do that. Yes. And like you said, honestly, like when I came up with the menu, I sat down and I was like, what do I like? What do most people like? What works for everybody? And what is cost effective? And what is a best way of coming up with a menu with the minimum waste? So like you have to think of like 360. So it's easy for us to prepare. It's healthy and nutritious. And it's delicious. So thank you for acknowledging that, and I love it. Thank you so much. And
cool. I think
we're
about ready here.
Yes.
So we're ready to move on
Boiling.
to the next step. And this is all soup's easy. It's just about adding the ingredients at the right time and getting the right levels. So the next ingredient here is pinto beans. And so very simple, out of the can. Give it a good wash just to get the agua faba off.
Yep.
And we are going to dump it right in. And this is the point also, during that time, while you're waiting for the soup to boil, that would be about the time that you would brown your chicken or brown your chorizo if you're going to add that in as well. So we've added the beans. The next step we're going to add is some fire roasted corn. You can also do sweet corn if you're a fan of sweet corn. And that is just going to go straight out of the freezer right into the soup. And this is what's going to start to thicken it up. I like to use about 8 to 12 ounces of corn. This is also what makes it a good salsa as well. And of course, the next step is we are going to take some lime. And of course, we've already got some fresh squeezed lime juice here. And I like to use about 70 milliliters of lime for about a 2-quart pot or 2-quart session. So about 125 to 130 milliliters of lime juice for a double batch. And we're just going to mix that in. And we're just going to dust this over because you want a little bit of that in the soup at first, but then it's mostly going to be a garnish there at the end. Once it was in the pot, I think we cooked it about 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Right. As I mentioned, most of this is in the prep work. Get everything chopped and it goes right away. So you can do all the prep work on the weekend and do this whole meal in 15 to 20 minutes during the weekday. Once the soup comes to a boil, we need to turn the heat down to a simmer and we're going to leave it there for another 5 minutes as we add these next ingredients. So you have the option of right here when we're at the simmer, just breaking them up and adding them in. That's going to add just a little bit of thickness and salt again to the mix here.
That's why we don't oversalt.
And we'll stir that in, and that'll reduce down. But you also have the option to plate it with, and we do this as well at home. We plate there at the end. So we're going to mix that in, and we will let that simmer for just a few more minutes.
And the next day, that will thicken up the soup and make it nice and yummy.
So that's simmered for a few minutes, and now we are ready to
taste it. My favorite part.
Of course, everyone's favorite part. And all we're going to do is ladle it directly out.
Oh, look at that goodness, guys. Honestly.
Let me get a good scoop here.
Oh my goodness. So he will come and he will say, like, Beth, I'm going to make the soupsa next week. I'm going to bring you some. And then every time he comes in, I was like, did you make the soupsa?
I tease her with it.
Yeah.
every few weeks. Her son can't get enough of it.
Yep.
And we add just a little bit of extra cilantro for
here.
the garnish. And if you are into cheese, like I am, we can add some shredded cheese.
Yep.
Don't know if we have any on. If you are a fan of cheese, I like to add just a little bit of cheese on top.
I want some cheese too.
Of course, that makes it not vegan, but
yeah, that makes it not vegan. But
that is up to you.
That's up to you. You can add some or not.
Just a few more crumbles of tortilla chips here at the end.
If you're me, I'll add a little sour cream. I don't know about you.
I don't add the sour cream at the end, but I do think it's good with it.
That's how I have it.
That looks perfect.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Moment of truth.
Cheers.
Cheers. Seriously?
Perfect.
Nice to meet you.
I could add just a little bit more lime.
You can't go wrong with lime.
And that's the magic of this. If you think it needs just a little bit more of anything, you just add it there right at the end.
Seriously. So good.
Perfect. Comes out that way every time.
Now I know why I make it way more complicated than it should be.
Soup's simple.
Honestly, I was like, let me put some celery. Oh, let me put some... no. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
This is it. Gregory.
And, with that, I'll hand you back your kitchen. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for teaching me your talent today. And for making these memories with me.
Of course.
And for being such a wonderful friend.
Aww.
I love it. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, share, and like. And follow us if you live nearby downtown Silver Spring. Stop by Lemon Slice Cafe. We serve breakfast and lunch Monday to Friday, and then brunch on Sunday. We would love to serve you. If you are visiting DMV area, please stop by. We will treat you with an extra tender love and care. Love you. Thank you. Thank you.